You were also asked about evaluating the defendant for bipolar, and you said that she, based on your conversations with her, there were no signs of mania, correct?
Correct.
What are the types of questions you ask a patient to determine if they've experienced an episode of mania?
Well, a lot of it is what I can see in the session. I might also ask about some of those symptoms, like decreased need for sleep, or racing thoughts, or increased risk-taking activities. But even if they're reporting those things, I would have to really see it for myself to diagnose that.
And what would you see physically?
So I might see that the person is talking very fast, and it's almost impossible to interrupt their rate of speech. And it might also be very loud. They might be hyperactive, not able to sit still. They might be yelling and jumping from one thought to another without any linear connection between the thoughts. They might, I guess that's probably what I would observe in terms of behaviors. Did
you observe any of those behaviors with Lindsay Clancy?
No, it was the opposite.
What do you mean it was the opposite?
So, the opposite of euphoria is dysphoria or depression. The opposite of hyperactivity is tiredness and fatigue. So, in a way, it was the opposite of mania that I observed.
And in terms of the questions you asked about her past behavior, were any of the answers that she gave indicative of mania?
No.
You were asked about discussing Seroquel with the defendant, even though you weren't the prescriber. Why did you discuss that medication with her?
Because the patient was asking about it, and her husband was also asking me about it. They really wanted my opinions about it. It wasn't necessarily that I was prompting this line of conversation.
And what did you tell them about it?
Well, I shared that it has very good evidence for treating depression, and I may have shared that Seroquel does different things at different doses, right? So sometimes people are concerned that it is called an antipsychotic, but it actually doesn't function as an antipsychotic until you get up to really high doses, like 800 milligrams. So in low doses, it's more of a sleep medicine or an antidepressant. So I think that I explained that to them, and it's obviously a very important part of it. But they were also concerned about that causing the depression that she was experiencing. So we talked a bit about how you would tell. It can be hard to tell whether a medicine is causing that or it's just occurring because of depression.
What did you tell them in terms of how to tell?
That it's really based on the timing. If you were to notice a significant decline after starting or increasing the medication.
And prior to Ms. Clancy taking the Seroquel, had you noticed signs of depression in her?
Yes.
And after she was off of the Seroquel in January, did you see signs of depression in her?
Yes.
So that was completely off of Seroquel, both before and after, still showing signs of depression?
Yes.
During January, the defendant told you she had trouble getting out of bed?
Is there a specific visit?
I think it was right after she got out of the hospital. Maybe your first or second visit with her.
I see that on the 16th, she did say that she was able to force herself out of bed and take care of basics, so on and so forth.
Were you aware that she had gone to the Museum of Science with her family on January 8th and spent a few hours there interacting with the exhibits and the children?
No.
Were you aware on January 15th, the day before that session, she had been to the Cape Codder down in Hyannis with the family, interacting with the kids and going down little water slides and all of that?
No.
Were you aware that on January 14th, she watched all 3 kids while Pat went to a brunch and was fine?
No.
Were you aware that on January 16th, her husband took Cora skiing and she was alone with the boys all day and had no issues?
No.
You were asked about the thyroid and how that can affect mental health and postpartum. Were you aware that at both South Shore Hospital and Brigham and Women's Hospital, her thyroid limits were in normal range?
No, I was not.
You received a discharge summary from McLean Hospital?
Yes.
What's contained in the discharge summary?
So it includes information about how the patient initially presented, what they said when they first came to the hospital, and their initial assessment from the psychiatrist that they spoke with. It talks a bit about their treatment course, how things progressed, any changes that were made, and then it talks about how the patient appears on the day of discharge.
Does it also include what medications they were prescribed and what the diagnosis might have been?
Yes.
And was that sufficient in terms of your review of the information that you needed for you to know about your patient at that time?
Yes, that was a very helpful amount of information that I would typically review that amount of information for a patient after the hospital. Now,
you were asked about your January 23rd, 2023 session with the defendant. Defense counsel asked if you had, recommended a hospital evaluation for her on that day, and you said no. Why not?
Because she was completely denying any suicidal ideation or homicidal ideation. There were no signs of psychosis or mania, so there were no serious signs that her safety or that anyone else's safety was at risk.
And during that session, did she ever tell you that she planned to harm herself or the children?
No.
If she had done that, what would you have done?
I would have, it depends exactly how it would have played out. It would definitely include hospitalization. If the children were in immediate harm, it might include enlisting help from my staff so that they could call the police while I'm on the phone with her. I think it depends, but I would address it promptly.
You were asked by defense counsel about the amitriptyline that you prescribed on January 16th, 2023. That initial prescription was for 10 milligrams, correct?
Yes.
Explain the bottle from exhibit 155 of amitriptyline. Would you agree with me that this shows that the prescription was filled on that same day, January 16th, 2023?
Yes.
And out of this pill bottle here, there were 30 pills in this prescription, correct?
Yes.
And there are 8 pills missing from this bottle. So filled on January 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd would be 8 days, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And on the 23rd is when you said she could raise it to 20 milligrams?
Yes.
So if there are only 8 pills missing, she never took that additional dose, correct?
That's what I would think based on what you just said.
So the amitriptyline, increasing it from 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams, wouldn't have pushed her over the edge, correct?
Well, if she didn't take 20 milligrams, then that's correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Then